This is the notching technique, and you will need your two little collar pieces for this sample. Make sure that you put them right sides together and understand that this inside curve is the neckline and this outside curve is the edge of the collar that we will be stitching on. Notches, and they're also called wedging, are used on outward curved seams which allow the fabric to lie flat when they're turned right side out. Small V-shaped wedges are cut out of the seam allowance on these convex or these outward curves. Now this is small scale again, so we will be doing a 3/8 seam allowance. But if this was full scale, of course, it would be a 5/8 seam allowance. So we will back stitch first, put the needle in the down position. Curves are sometimes tricky to sew on, so just take your time. I just train my eye right to the outside of the needle. And if you need to readjust, just lift your presser foot up a little bit and move your fabric. You want your curved stitching to look really accurate so that your collar will be nice and smooth. If your fabric gets away from you, then just stop, reposition, and move your fabric. Come to the opposite side and back stitch. Then we'll cut our thread tails. So here is our little Peter Pan collar. And I want you to see that when we do this seam, our convex curve has now become smaller. And if we turn this collar right side out and you felt along that seam line, you would feel a lot of bulk. And it would be hard to get that to lay flat. If we turn it back inside out and we fold our seam allowance up on the seam line, you'll notice where you've got the excess fabric. That's where you want to cut the little pie-shaped wedges so that when it's turned right side out, those seam allowances will not overlap and cause bulk. So they can be cut like this, or you can even fold the fabric together and do another little pie-shaped wedge like that. It's just so that when it's turned right side out, that these fabrics don't overlap. And you will continue to do this all around the collar. Just be careful not to cut through your stitching. Also, when we do a seam like this, and it's going to be for a collar and it's going to be turned right side out, normally we would trim this seam down first. Usually we don't leave the 3/8 or the 5/8 bulk in there. But for our sample, we will leave it there. There are your notches. If you want to test it, you can fold them up, making sure that they're not overlapping. Now when that's turned right side out, it will lay nice and flat. Notches.